Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another Wednesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am so glad you are here. Hope everyone had a wonderful week. Let's see who we've got on here. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you get on. Comment, let me know you're here. If you're new to my channel, please let me know and where you're from. We'll give you a shout out and we'll get started here in about a minute or so. Hello, Laura. Hope you had a good day. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for watching. Hello, Tracy. All right. Got a notification today that I've had 100 reactions over the last 30 days. Thanks to all of you who are watching and commenting. I appreciate that. Keep that up. Facebook likes that when I get interaction and then they show my videos. All right, so hello, Lynette. So glad you could join us. We are going to go ahead and jump in and get started. I've got two projects for you tonight. Hello, Jennifer. And if I breeze through these, then we can do a third one because I can show you how to make a treat box. But we'll see how things go. We're going to be using the Seaside Bay suite of products tonight. So we've got the Seaside Bay stamp set, the coordinating Seaside Bay dies, there's 16 of those. This particular image right here makes a 3D fan. And let's see if I did. Stuck that right inside my box here so you could see what that does. Okay. And then we've got some designer series paper, 6x6. This is a 48 pack of paper. There are 12 double-sided designs in this pack. These are actually the B sides. This is a specialty pack of paper. And then you get gold foiling and some holographic prints within this. So I've already gone through quite a bit of this. This particular paper, you can use this muscle die to cut out the muscles. That will cut those out. And then there's also another sheet here. Let me flip this. We've got dies to cut the bird and the crab. And of course you can cut the crabs in blue. This will cut this blue mussel here. And then you've got some dies on this that will cut these out as well. So you've got that. And let's see if they've lined these up so they'll cut. I didn't check that. I didn't pre-check that. Nope, those aren't going to cut. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Gone through all that. You will find the Seaside Bay suite of products on page 22 of the January to April mini catalog. Okay, there's also some pearls, some flat pearls that we'll be using tonight as well. But let's go ahead and get started on our first project. It's a fun fold card. And these are those flat back adhesive pearls. We're going to be using that on this project. So look how pretty those are. All right, so we need 2 ink pads. We need Basic Gray and Night of Navy. We're also going to be using the Stylish Shape dies. These are back in stock for anyone who didn't already have them that wants them. So they're currently available. And then we will be using some of the Designer Series paper as well. But I've already got that cut. So I'm going to start with a balmy blue card base. Go ahead and fold that in half. I've already scored it at 4 1/4. Give that a good press. And then we're going to add a piece of that Designer Series paper. I'm going to do this way, I think. Yep, let's do this way. And we can go ahead and we've got to cut this. Oh no, this is the inside piece. Whoops, I almost messed that up. So we got a fun fold here. So we're going to put this on the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let's see, do I want to do, yeah, I think I do. So you got to think about this because where you're going to put your sentiment on the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and put this down. This is a layer 4 by, yep, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I don't want it that way. I want it this way. This is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go on the inside of the card. Before we go any further, we need to put one more score in this. So I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. And I'm actually going to turn this over and flip it. Okay, so I'm going to score this at 2 1/8, which is half of 4 1/4. Right, and I want to do it on the back side. 2 1/8. Okay, and hopefully I did that right. So I want to flip this back just like that. Okay, so there's our fun fold. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to take 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper. And these, I'm going to turn this direction. And this is 1 3/4. Nope, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're going to put that on. Both of these pieces are the same measurement. Okay, and we'll add this second piece. I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to try and line that up. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Then we've got a piece of Sahara sand. And this piece is 1 1/4 by 3. And I've scored this at 1 3/4, or at 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, and 3. Okay, so let me tell you that again. 3/4, 1 1/2, and 2 1/4. And that gives you 4 equal scores on this piece. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. Then I've taken from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I've cut 2 of the second and third largest of the squares. Okay, so these 2. I've cut 1 of the larger and 2 of the smaller in the Night of Navy. And then we need a couple, we need some Sahara sand. And this piece is 2 3/16 by 2 3/16. And this one is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and you need 2 of those. They're just going to fit right inside the piercings that you can see on those squares we cut from the Stylish Shapes. Okay, so we've got those. Now we're going to go ahead and do some stamping on this Sahara sand. So let's get that done. Okay. So we're going to take the 3 shell and sand image from this set. And we're also going to need the Sahara sand. Now, where did I put Sahara sand? Oh my goodness. I didn't put it back in its case. And I thought I had it in a container. But now I'm not seeing what happened with my Sahara sand. Oh my Lord. Okay, well, where could that have gotten to? I used it today. That's what happens when you keep crafting after you prepare for a Facebook Live. And of course, you know, it's sitting right here in front of my face. I just can't see it. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to punt. If all else fails, we use a different color. Because I just don't know what I did with that earlier when I was... It's probably in the wrong spot in my case. Because oh, there it is right there. Found it. I found it in the Calypso Coral section. Yeah. Okay, that's not good. All right. Too dark. Okay, did the sound come back? Did you guys get sound? Is there any sound? Oh, you got the sound back, Jennifer? Okay, good. All right. Whew. Okay. Let's go ahead and put this on. I don't know what happened. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, and then we're going to put this on. Do I want this like this, or do I want it like this? Let's put it like that. Okay. Now, we're going to take, and on the inside of this, we're going to take this piece that is the 1 1/4 by 3, scored at 3/4, 1 1/2, and 2 1/4. And we're going to fold this. We folded it on all of the score lines, and we're going to fold it so it's like this. Okay? Then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to lay it with these open sides down in the center-ish. Let me double check this to make sure this is what I want. I'm going to lay this in here, and I need this one to come in here. So we'll check the placement. I want this even. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to measure 2 1/8 and 2 1/8. So that's about where I'm going to want it, 2 1/8 inches on either side. I'm going to put some liquid glue here. You need a strong adhesive for this. Okay. And with this, I can move it if I need to. So I'm not going to press that down yet. So I want to be able to move it. 2 1/8 is where I want it, and I want it right on that score line. I want these score lines to add up. And then I'm going to give that a good press. Okay, this is going to give me a pop-up mechanism. Okay, so then we're going to take this one, and I'm going to look to see where I want my adhesive, and I'm going to put adhesive right here, just in this corner, and really just in this corner. Just a very small amount. And then I'm going to lay this down here. Line that up so that my point's in the center. And then when I close my card, let's give that a good press. And make sure I didn't glue that down at all. Oh man, I did it wrong. I put it on the wrong piece. Okay, hang on, check that. Let me get rid of this glue because we can't have that there. It'll glue my card shut. Just gonna take an adhesive eraser and get that off of there. Okay, that is not sticky. not sticky. I need to put my glue needs to be there, but it needs to be on this piece, but not over this. So I need to put this like this. Okay, so we're going to put it on the left side of that piece, not the right side. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more glue right there, and it is a very small amount. And then I'm going to center that up as best I can and hold that for just a minute. And then when I close this, there's our fun fold. Okay, that's going to pop right up there when you open the card. Okay, so it's very important to adhere that to the left side, not the right side. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our pearl. And again, we're going to do that. Actually, I'm going to do this because I've got a little bit of room here between these, the way this is set. I'm going to put this up on dimensionals because I've got the clearance to do so. So I'm just going to put one on the top and one on the bottom. And then I'm going to put this right here on my card. Okay. Then I'm going to take one of those flat pearls, and I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to take one of the large ones, and I'm going to put it right here in that petal pink section. All right. Now, if you want to add a sentiment to the inside, you can. But you want to make sure when you do this that you put it far to the left over here, and you want to make sure your sentiment doesn't stick out beyond this part, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in Night of Navy. And I'm just going to stamp this right here, like so. All right. And then it'll be covered. All right. And then when I sign it, I'll just have to make sure that I sign over here, or I'll sign on the back. All right, so there is our first card. And for the envelope, I took that bird and I colored him with Mint Macaron, Pool Party, and Petal Pink, just with that same swiping brushing technique that I showed you on the shells. Okay, so there's our first project finished. Okay, let's move on to project number 2. Let's get these. Oh yeah, I forgot to add. I need a couple more of these. I forgot to add those to the front. I'm going to take a couple of the small pearls and I'm just going to add those out here. Like so. Okay. So there we are. Finished project. Whew. So glad I didn't mess that card up. Almost did. Okay. How'd you like that fun fold? Oh, good. I'm glad you guys liked that card. I loved how it turned out. Okay, let me get these out of the way and we'll grab the second project. Okay, now this one, I think all we need is Calypso Coral and the Sahara Sand for stamp pads. So let me get rid of these other two. Still need those Stampin' blends. And this time we're going to be using the faux sea glass shapes as our embellishment. Okay, so for this one we're going to start with a standard A2 size card base out of Sahara Sand. And go ahead and burnish that. Then we're going to take a piece of Balmy Blue cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5. We've got 2 pieces of the DSP. These are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I've got a vellum cardstock stylish shape circle, and this is the largest from those stylish shapes dies. Got a scrap piece of white for stamping. I've got a piece for the inside that is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, and I've taken a piece of offcut from the same designer Series paper, and I've cut that. This is about 1/4 of an inch wide by 4 1/4. Just a scrap I had laying around. I've got 2 other pieces of that designer Series paper, and these are both cut at 1 3/4 by 3 1/8. And then I've taken out of one of the designer Series papers and I've cut the seaweed, whatever you want to call it. I've cut 2 small and 1 large using those dies. So you've got this one for the large, and you've got this one here for the small. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. We've got to do a little die cutting here, so I wanted to show you how I did this. So I'm going to take the, I move things out of my way. Sorry if I bumped you. Okay, I'm going to take this long piece here. It's made to look like ground. And I'm going to put this in through my mini cut and emboss. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this, and I'm going to put this, this cuts at the top on this uneven side and does not cut on the straight edge. So wherever you cut on, wherever you put your straight edge is not going to cut. So make sure where you want your, how much you want, you put it closer. So I'm putting mine at the top because I need a larger piece there. And then I'm just going to roll that through. Okay. And then I'm going to be using this piece. This is the piece I want right here. Okay. Then I'm going to take the stylish shapes dies again, I'm going to grab that same circle that I cut the vellum from. And I'm going to run this piece back through. I'm going to have to cut this off in order for it to work on the mini though, because I don't want that much. So let me trim this piece down. Just going to put that in my little trimmer here and trim it off, because that piece is going to be too wide to go through the mini. And I don't want that much. So I'm going to put this about right here. And I'm going to run that through. Okay. And then I've got this piece here. Okay. All right. So then we're going to take this piece, and again, we're going to take the Sahara sand and our shells, and we're going to stamp these on here. And I'm going to turn that, and just keep turning your die until you get that what you want. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, now I do want to show you one thing with this particular stamp. You stamp this down on a piece of cardstock. This is kind of a double duty stamp, because there is a die in here that will cut all three of those images away from those grains of salt, or grains of sand. Okay, so you can use these small little shells and not have to fussy cut them. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so just want to make sure I show you that. Okay, so we can go ahead now and we can add this to our vellum. And what I do with my vellum is I take this, and if you put your vellum down and you move it, the piercings from the one piece will fit into the piercings of the other, so that you'll know you have them lined up. Now, you also need to worry about not putting too much glue, because you don't want the glue going into your coming out of those piercing holes. Okay, so we're just going to put a little bit of liquid glue here, and I'm going to stay away from the piercings. Okay, and then I'm just going to slide this down here, slide that in till I feel those click into place. And now I've got my focal image that I want. All right. Okay. Now to this, we're going to add these. And I forgot, I didn't want to glue all the way to the top, because I want to grab these and do that. I didn't get quite to the top, thank goodness. So So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of this. I'm not gluing the top because I want my tops to be movable. I want it to have a little bit of dimension. I'm going to stick this in there like that. And then I'm going to do the same with this. I'm leaving the top free. And I'm going to put that in here, like so. And then I'm going to add this other one. I'm going to do this one at kind of an angle. Like that. Okay, so we've got those pieces on. Now we need to stamp our little crab. And we're going to stamp him in basic gray again, which I put over here. So I'm going to stamp him on this piece right here. And I didn't pre-do this because I wanted to show you how I colored him. Okay, so let's get this. Got to protect my surface here. I'm going to take my Calypso Coral. And I use the brush tip because if you use too much, starting with the light, if you use too much, you lose the details of the crab. And I found I had better control with the brush tip on the legs especially. Just going to put a little bit of Calypso Coral here. Again, I'm barely touching the paper. Okay. And then I'm going to switch my tips. Well, no, because I want to get in these pinchers. Okay. And for this, I kind of went over the darker parts first with the light and left the white parts white, because I really did not want to lose the detail on my crab. So I'm just barely touching those dark spots. Okay. Then I'm going to go back with my dark Calypso Coral, and I'm going to go over those darker spots again so that I get the definition that I'm looking for. But I'm not going to hit all of it. I'm just going to leave some little spotty parts. Okay, and I'm not going to touch the crab legs with this darker. Then I'm going to go back with my lighter. I'm going to go back over that part where I did the dark, and I'm going to blend those in together on this body area. Okay, and on this pincher area here, staying away from the tips of the pinchers. Okay. All right, so I've got that blended. And I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. And while we're letting that sit, we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so I'm going to take my piece of Balmy Blue and these 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 inch pieces, and I'm going to put one of these up here. I'm going to put one of them down here, and then I'm going to take the 1 3/4 by 3 1/8, and I'm going to decide where I want those. What do I want next to what? And in what orientation do I want my paper? Okay. And when I'm happy with it, I think I like that better. Then I'm going to go ahead and add these on. Okay. And I'm going to try and leave an even border, top, bottom, side. So I'm going to put these on first. I'm going to line this up. Try and get a straight edge. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and press those two pieces into place. And then I'm going to try and get in the same border on the top and the side over here that I did on the right that I did on the left. Okay. Then we're going to add this piece. Oh, this piece is longer. What did I do here? Hang on. No, that's 3 1/8. Oh, this one's only 3. Okay, well, I need to cut 1/8 off here. It's going to look funky. Okay, so I'm just going to freehand it. Try and take that 1/8 inch off, because apparently I didn't cut one right. Three and 1 3/4, 3. Yep, that would be right anyway. It would be 3, not 3 1/8. So I had this piece cut right and this piece cut wrong. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, back to our crab. Now I'm going to go back and take the light Calypso coral again, and I'm going to go over all of this. And by letting that dry a little bit, I don't get a medium tone between those. Okay? Because I let it dry so it's not blending in quite as much as it would if that were still wet. Okay, and there is my crab. Okay, so now we just need to cut him out. So let's grab our crab die cut, or a crab die. And we will line that up, put our Post-it tape on there, and bring in our mini machine. I'm not sure what I did with that top plate, so we're going to use this one. It'll work just as well. It just doesn't look as nice. All right. So now we've got our crab. And isn't he beautiful? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add this crab to our vellum piece with a couple of dimensionals. Pop that up. We're going to put this right down here like so. And yes, it's covering up a good share of that sand and those shells, but we can see them. Okay, now this is ready to be added to this piece, and to do that with vellum, you know, I had to get this piece all together, and then I'm just going to take my glue here, and I'm going to put glue behind my papers. And I'm going to do this very carefully here because I don't want it to squirt out. Now the one thing that you can do with liquid glue to ensure that it doesn't spurt out on you is once you get the glue on, you can set this aside to dry for a minute. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside for a minute and let that glue harden up a tiny little bit. And while we're doing that, we're going to add this piece to the front of our card. Okay, so we're just going to grab the Stampin' seal. We're going to put that down. Now, I took on a piece of basic white and I stamped from the Friends Are Like Seashells, the Love You to the Beach and Back, and I've hand cut that out with my paper snips. And let's see, what are we gonna, I don't think I put a sentiment on the inside. I did not, but what I did do is I took this piece and again, my 3 shells, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to center that up along the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to add this to the inside of my card with my Stampin' seal. Okay. All right. So there's the inside of our card. I'm not adding a sentiment. I don't know who I'm going to give it to and for what occasion, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. And then I'm going to go back, and if you take a look at that, you can see how some of that glue is clear now. So now I can take and add this. Without fear of anything spurting out. And that will still be just as strong. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take some mini dimensionals for this. I'm going to add that to my sentiment. Peel off my backings. And then I'm going to add this up here to the upper left of my circle. I'm going to get some faux sea glass shapes. These are in the annual catalog. And we're going to get some of those. And I'm going to take the green ones. Whoops. I'm going to put one down here, right here, and I'll put one up here, and one over here. All right. So there is our finished card. Okay, now I do have a couple of other samples that I made with this bundle to show you. So I've got this one, and this combines the Friends Are Like Seashells. This seashell is from the Friends Are Like Seashells, and that's a hybrid bundle, so it comes with an embossing folder. So this I stamped in the basic gray, I colored it with the Stampin' blends, and then I ran it through the embossing folder to give it the texture on there. I don't know if you can see that. I also used that full embossing folder to emboss on a piece of vellum, cardstock vellum. That's what you see in the background here. I added that to a piece of the DSP. The background here on the pool party, if you can see that dimension, that is the Into the Clouds embossing folder that is part of the new celebration offering that began at the beginning of the month. So this particular embossing folder, it's not a 3D, but it is free, a free choice with a $50 order. Okay. So that's that, and I put in the inside, I took again a thin strip, used those same shells, and I added the DSP and the shells along the envelope. And finally, I made this really cute little treat box. Opens with a Velcro dot, holds 4 Dove chocolates of the Dove Promises. I designed it to fit those 4 in that orientation. And it just uses the, this is strictly the Seaside, Seaside Bay stamp set and dies. And then I added a little piece of linen and those flat-backed pearls. Okay. So I hope you like those projects. So go ahead and bring back in those cards that we made today. Oh, this isn't the one, is it? No, this is it. This is the one we made today. All right. And here is the envelope that we have for that. And we'll bring back in the first card. We've got that. All right, I hope you like those projects that I made for you this evening and that you are inspired, especially if you have this set, to pull it out and start using it. It is a beautiful bundle. And if you have the friends are like Seashells, they coordinate beautifully. All right, everybody. Oh, hey, if you want to stick around for a minute, I will show you the new products from the online exclusives. They came yesterday. Let me pull these out of the way. What did I do with the beads? I had them right before I went live. The frosted bead. Oh, here they are right here. Okay, so we've got the Irresistible Blooms stamp set. This will be available to customers beginning March 1st. I have not had a chance to play with it. It came yesterday and I was still designing for today. It's a cling rubber. It has 11 stamps. And then you have these beautiful dies. Okay, so we've got this die, and this does not cut the outside of the circle. Let me see if I have a quick scrap of paper that I could. Yeah, let's do that. We'll run that through so you can see it really fast. If you're interested, stick around. If you're not, I'll see you next week. I think, will this fit? Yeah, it's gonna fit. Okay, so we're gonna run this through. Okay, so this is what you get from this die. It doesn't cut out around, but you can take, get all these pieces out of the way. Take a pair of scissors. So you've got options. You can put this squarely in your piece of paper and cut it just this way. Or you can take and snip along the edge here, 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 and here, and then you would just want to clean these up just a tiny little bit. Not much to do in that. Okay, and then you would have this piece to use. All right, so there's that. And then this one will cut out this whole piece. But you'll have some, you won't have a full edge here. I don't think I have a piece long. Oh, yes I do. I don't know if this will go through the mini. Let's check that out too. I don't know if this is long enough. The mini plates are long enough. We'll find out here in a minute. We got to cut this down though. My piece of cardstock is too wide. So 1.5 inches should be plenty. Let's see if this will fit on the mini. Well, it looks like it should. Now remember, with things like this, anytime you have a straight edge, you want to put it at an angle, if at all possible, so that you don't get the thunk-a-thunk. Okay, and then we're going to run that through. is very delicate, so we're going to be very careful pulling this out. It's a very detailed image. Whoops, I wasn't careful enough. I pulled that piece apart. Okay. Oh no, that was the offcut. Okay. And really, they're already cut. It's just a matter of popping that little booger out of there. This is where your die brush comes into. So then you've got this piece that looks like this. Okay? I would suggest that if you're going to do this, that you run this through with adhesive sheet on the back. You can put glue on these dots, and that will hold it down on your paper. So there, you've got that. So we've got this and this in that die set. These are actually pretty cool, and you can use those with anything. And then you've got the die cuts to cut the flowers, the leaves, and then you have these extra pieces here. These are intricate that don't actually cut out an image, okay? But these images all have dies to cut. And you've got this nice splatter and a beautiful font. All right, so that is the Irresistible Blooms bundle. Now, along with that, there is some Designer Series paper. And this comes, I haven't taken this apart, so you've got this and this. The front and the back. These are nice. You can just cut your leaves and blooms right out of those. You've got the same pattern as that die cut right here. And on the back, another piece that you could use to cut flowers out of. Leaf pattern on the front. Another pattern that you could cut leaves out on the back. Now these ones you can, I'm sure, cut with the dies, which I just buried over here. So we can cut this flower and this flower. Just got to get it in the right orientation. Okay, so you can cut both of those, and let's see. And you can cut those with the dies. Okay. And then again, you've got that watercolor wash on the back. You can cut these leaves out with the dies. Watercolor on the back. Then you've got these beautiful leaf patterns. And again, watercolor on the back, more leaves, watercolor and spots on the back, this beautiful leaf pattern, and those line and dot pattern. Again, you can cut these with the dies, and you've got that pretty pattern on the back, another leaf pattern, watercolor, and these again you can cut these leaves with the dies, and the back of that is that grid. You could play dots and boxes with this particular piece of DSP if you were so inclined. All right, so the colors in this are Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Lost Lagoon, which is coming back, Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock, that's a returning color, and Soft Sea Foam. All right. So I think that is all I have for you tonight. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you back here again next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. All right, thank you. Have a good night. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I appreciate that.